Grab a brew and tune in to the High Ticket Review. In each episode, you'll get a rewind of the misses, makes, and definitely magic of live high-ticket sales calls from a veteran sales consultant, Will DeShazo, who has held more than 15,000 calls and trained multiple 8-figure companies, all while developing a simple winning framework to close your next call. From objection handling,
I'm gonna need to sleep on this,
to on-call close techniques, the High Ticket Review has you covered up in talk tracks that convert to dollars. Now, on to today's training.
Okay, I just gotta apologize in advance because if you are watching me, a lot of you don't know this, but I do have all of these episodes on YouTube. You can see my radio face. I say that sarcastically. Don't call me ugly, please. But if you are watching on YouTube, you can tell that I am a little bit sun-kissed. Man, I've been at the lake. I had a men's retreat through church at the lake this weekend, and we soaked it up. If you don't know me well, you probably don't know this, but I am very vitamin D forward. Let me soak up the sun. I am going to soak up every single bit of the sunshine. And down in Birmingham, Alabama, we get a lot of sunshine in the summer. So if you are watching me on YouTube and you're wondering, man, that guy looks a little bit tanner than he once did. Hey, welcome to summer. It's June. If you're listening to this, we're dropping on June the 10th. It is officially June. We are about to be more than halfway through the year of 2025. Where are you at? Where are you at on your revenue targets? Where are you at on your goals? We are 50% of the way through the year. Are you halfway to your target? What progress have you made over these last 6 months? What do you need to change to be better in the back 6 months? Hey, maybe today's episode can help you change that. You're going to learn in just a little while about a method called the stop, drop, and roll method. And no, it's not the same one that you learn as a little kid, or better yet, as an adult. In fact, I was recently reading a book to my daughter, and it was Clifford the Red Dog. She loves Clifford the Red Dog right now. Loves him. She's like, I want a Clifford Red Dog. She loves him. And in that book, one of them recently, Clifford stopped, dropped, and rolled. He taught the reader, Della, in this case, my daughter, how to get a fire off of you. If you are ever in the unfortunate scenario of being on fire, what do? You stop and you drop and you roll. Well, listen, sometimes on your discovery calls, you also might find yourself in a place where you or your prospect is on fire. And what do? You stop and you drop and you roll. It's actually the same thing. Now, it's a little different in that you're not literally going to drop everything and roll around on the ground. Let me tell you what stop and drop and roll means and when you can use it. So one of the biggest pieces, one of the most important parts of your sales call is actually listening. It's listening to the words, listening to the tonality that your prospect shares when you ask them questions. I don't want you to ever stress again. Raise your hand for me right now silently in the car, at church. Hopefully you're not listening to this at church. Wherever you are, raise your hand if you stress about what you're going to say in response to your prospect. Are you worried about what you're going to say next? Are you taking rapid notes, hoping that you don't miss something? Listen, you just need to actively listen to your prospect. They will guide you to what to say next if you actively listen. I tune in, I audit a lot of coaches' discovery calls. And oftentimes, it's funny, I know exactly what happened and why the deal didn't close. 90% of them, this happens. You ready? The coach does an A+ job of searching for the need, of asking great questions. But what they totally miss entirely is they move on. They'll ask great questions. The prospect on the other end of the line will state how they feel or mention something, and then poof, it's like a magic trip. They move on. They totally move on. They miss the thing, the root of the thing that the prospect said. They get too stuck actually in searching and asking that they miss entirely listening to what the prospect says, or better yet, how the prospect says it. So if you just actively listen, you will hear, you will be seeking key words, phrases, tonalities, even emotions that might lead you to want to ask more. And when you hear those keywords or phrases or emotions or tonality shifts, I want you to double down to learn more. See, I call these keywords or these phrases emotional triggers. And if you're actively listening, you will hear them. But if you're too busy taking notes or too busy thinking about what you're going to say next, you'll miss them entirely. You will miss them entirely. Listen for dramatic phrases, words like every time, or I always, or I never get. You see, that's not true. It doesn't never, nothing's 100%. But those emotional phrases are telling you something here. Or maybe emotional words like, it's so frustrating, or I just get wickedly angry. Whoa, emotional words. I want to understand more about what's going on with that, right? Or don't tell my mom, sharp expletives. You might get a that beep. It kills me. Whoa, okay, right? Hey, when you hear those things, you need to stop, drop, and roll, all right? Here's what you do. In this case, you're going to stop. Literally, you are going to pause the convo. Stop. You're going to drop. You're going to drop the same line that they shared by simply regurgitating, repeating the words they used, and then asking for clarity around that thing. And then you'll roll. Literally, you don't have to do anything. You're going to let them continue to roll on and roll off how they actually feel about what provoked that emotional trigger. So it could go something like this. Maybe your prospect says, every single time I've ever tried to do this, it's turned out this way. I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to drop the same line. Wow, man, John, every time? And then I'm going to ask for clarity. How do you mean every time? Like literally? How long's that been going on? What's that holding you back from? What's happening as a result of this happening every time? You see, I'm starting to literally drop the same line and then ask for clarity around that line. And then I'm going to let them roll. I'm going to just let them keep talking and keep sharing and keep gathering more information based on what I hear. You see, on discovery calls, getting this information from your prospect as to why they may need your offer, why it's vital to them, this is your lifeblood of your pitch. With that information, your prospect will convince themselves that they're in dire need of your offer. And without it, you're just going to be blabbing about your offer, how it works, the inside of it, to deaf ears. This level of active listening will reveal a bounty of information that you never thought was possible to gather in such a short period of time. So you've got to first actively listen, but when you hear those emotional triggers, I want you to stop, drop, and roll. Do this on your next conversation and get ready to run your pen. Because the emotional words, the hows, the whys, they're going to run wild. And you are going to hear exactly why your offer can help them. And then when you pitch your offer, you're simply going to regurgitate what you heard and tie it back to why this part of your program is helpful for this part of their life that they shared with you earlier. And hey, that part of their life is going to be one of the most vulnerable, transparent things that they've ever shared with anyone. Why? Because you actively listened, and when you heard an emotional spot, you stopped, you dropped, and you rolled. So go leverage this, go use this on your next discovery call, and come back here to the High Ticket Review, where we'll drop another talk track in our next episode. See ya on the next episode.
All right, you just listened to the High Ticket Review. And by the way, this podcast is completely supported by you, a high ticket closer, business owner, or salesperson. So make sure to smash that subscribe button to close higher dollar deals faster. And don't forget, go implement what you heard today. Opportunity is right around the bend on the other end of every single call that you take. See you next time.